Athens Director of School Programs at the Center for History. Please remember when you're in here tonight, please be respectful. Don't sit on, lean against, sit up, stand on, stand over, touch, lick, kick, any tombstone. Alright? Some of these stones are that means you too. Now, every stone, a lot of these stones in here are very old. A lot of them are tipsy. A lot of them have been pushed over by vandals walking through the cemetery at night or at other times. So be careful. We don't want you leaning up against any of them and have them falling over.
What's the matter? You're going to get your muzzle if you don't.
We're going to make just basically a big giant circle. We'll basically end up here. The first grave, I'll try to not speak until everybody is around. Some places you can get close, some places you cannot. Try to get around. Don't get in front of me. Watch out for trip hazards. There's sunken areas in the cemetery. Be careful. Just watch where you're stepping. We'll try to get back here before dark. Because we all know what happens at dark.
Take this so that way I can carry him.
Carry him?
Better keep him quiet. If I pick him up
with this many people, we may have to carry him because they'll trip people.
Yeah, that's what I say. I'll keep him let him walk to the spots and I'll carry him.
Yeah, I didn't think she'd be able to control him.
Yeah. You do take to keep him in frame.
Carry him.
Okay, this plot of earth, it's real nice for Mr. Colfax to make this nice podium here. Now, this plot of these three markers belong to Schuyler Colfax and his family. You may wonder why Colfax Street is called Colfax Street. Well, Mr. Colfax was named Schuyler after his mom's maiden name. He was actually born in New York City, and in 1836 he moved out here with his mom and dad and actually settled in New Carlisle. Colfax was at 19, he was ready to take a career, so he came into South Bend, where he became the editor of a paper called the South Bend Free Press, which changed its name to the St. Joseph Valley Register. Colfax was elected to Congress in 1852. And eventually joined the new formed Republican Party, which had nominated President Lincoln in 1860. In 1862, Schuyler was elected Speaker of the House, which during his term as Speaker, he announced the passage of the 13th Amendment to the Constitution. Help me, 13th Amendment, what did the 13th Amendment do? Anybody? Freed the slaves. All right, now, Schuyler Colfax, did somebody get that? Now, Schuyler was Speaker of the House during majority of the Civil War, which made him an important figure. It's commonly been held that Schuyler Colfax was the last member of Lincoln's cabinet to actually speak to him before he went to Ford's Theater the night he was assassinated. Colfax was actually invited by the president to come to see our American cousin that night, but Schuyler had to get up the next morning early to go out west to California, so he couldn't make it. In 1868, he was elected Vice President of the United States with Ulysses S. Grant as President. He was not re-elected Vice President in 1872, and when he left office, he became a successful lecturer going all over the United States, talking mainly about his relationship with President Lincoln. And what it was like to work with President Lincoln. And he was on one of these speaking engagements in Mankato, Minnesota in the winter when he walked to the train station in a minus 30-degree temperature.
Genius.
And while he was waiting for the train to come, he had a massive stroke or heart attack, we don't know which, and died right there on the platform. It took about a day before anybody recognized who he was. Nobody really thought to go through his pockets to try to find identification. They finally found his speech and figured out it was the ex-Vice President of the United States. His body was brought back to South Bend. It laid in repose for a while. You see that in your picture, in his house, which was almost at the corner of William and Colfax Street. There's nothing, well, there is there, like a church there, but there's a big rock with a bronze plaque in it. His home is no longer there. And he was buried out here. This is not the original monument. Part of it is. This part is. Part up here is not. Usually when you see an angel, especially a baby angel on something, it means that an infant or a toddler is buried there. We do not know why this angel showed up here or who put it there. So we're trying, the Daughters of the American Revolution are trying to figure out why that is and what they can do about it to put it back to its original form. So a United States Vice President lays here in City Cemetery. And Schuyler and his second wife had a son, and they named him Fred. No, I'm kidding. They named him Schuyler also for some stupid reason. Schuyler Colfax III, and he became one of South Bend mayor one time. One term. All right, follow me.
Bye.
Yes, that's part of the old one.
So much for Secret Service back then.
Oh,
I don't even
Yeah, they didn't get smart till about Garfield.
Yeah, I don't think you can control him. He's too excited. Look at all these people that touch my head, Dad. Touch my head. Everybody touch the kicker.
So I said he ran all over my dad's house when he cut the grass. I was hoping he'd be wore out.
I don't think he is. I think
Too much energy in him.
he's very excited about all the people. Everybody wants to tell him how pretty he is. What? How come none of the group showed up, dude?
I didn't see it. Nobody really checks the message board too often. I mean, I posted it. I saw we had like 4 or 5 people look at it.
Where's Sue?
My boss asked me today, he's like, do you think you could go hunt Arlington? No. I think they will throw your ass in Fort Levin. Maybe we should write to the president and ask him if we can do a golf hunt in Arlington.
Now, this big rose marble stone marks the family site of Colonel Norman Eddy. You may have heard of Eddy Street. That's who it's named after. He wasn't born here. He was actually born in Scipio, New York in 1810, and he trained as a doctor at the University of Pennsylvania. After graduation, he moved to Mishawaka, and that was in 1835. He practiced medicine in Mishawaka until 1847, when he decided, medicine's not his thing, so he went to study law. So, we need more lawyers than medical doctors. Anyway, now, he passed the bar exam and moved to South Bend, where he eventually got interested in politics. While a member of the Democratic Party, he won a post in the Indiana State Senate, which eventually led him to being elected to the 33rd U.S. Congress, defeating Schuyler Colfax for the seat. So I don't think they played poker anymore after that point. Now, when the Civil War broke out, Colonel Eddy organized the 48th Indiana Infantry and received a commission as its colonel, and that's the name title that stuck with him the rest of his life. He continued in that position for about 2 years, but he received a disabling wound in Mississippi at a battle called the Battle of Iuka. That nobody's ever heard about. Now, he was fortunate because during that battle, 119 of his 420 men were killed. After his military career, Colonel Eddy came back, was Indiana's collector of revenue for a while, which I'm sure made him really popular. And then he became Secretary of State of Indiana, before dying suddenly of a heart condition, January 28th, 1872. And they buried him here. So, Eddy Street. Now you know. All right, I'll move this way.
Colfax out with
January.
He's a good baby. You need to quit the whining. Nobody wants to listen to you whine. Nobody paid to listen to you whine.